Namaste. Welcome to yet another episode of Jai Ho. Thank you so much for such a wonderful response to every episode of Jai Ho. After some really delightful talks with some really eminent personalities, really inspiring and motivating personalities, I'm sure you must have all realized the real strength of Bharat. And I really hope that we will be Atmanirbhar Bharat really soon. Today's guest, today's speaker is someone who really symbolizes Atmanirbhar Bharat himself. In today's times, when we are all hooked onto social media, when we cannot do without social media platforms, here is somebody who created India's answer to some social media giants. And it is not just a tucker to Twitter, but it is a social media platform that is for Bharatiyas, by Bharatiyas, and that gives access in Bharatiya languages. With more than 10 million downloads, Coup is one of the coolest things to have happened to India, to have happened to Bharat. And I am so proud to be able to speak with the founder of Coup, Aprameya Radhakrishna. So with no further delay, let us speak with the man himself. Be ready to be inspired, motivated, and amazed. Jai Ho.
And we are very proud to join them and be associated with them in their journey forward.
और हमारे साथ आप जुड़े हैं ऐसे दो युवा एंटरप्रेन्योर जिन्होंने भारत को अपना सबसे पहला माइक्रो ब्लॉगिंग साइट दिया है। कू ऐप के को-फाउंडर्स अप्रमेय राधाकृष्ण और मयंक बेडुआक।
Let's take a approach where irrespective of the language that you should be able to come and express yourself.
अप्रमेय, भारत के युवा एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए आपका क्या मैसेज है? आप तो सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर है, आपका क्या मैसेज है?
भारत में 3-4 वेव हो चुके हैं टेक्नोलॉजी में। 3rd and 4th वेव जो है इंडियन यंगस्टर्स को एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है इसमें भाग लेने का और एक रेवोल्यूशन बनाने का।
इसी तरह एक माइक्रो ब्लॉगिंग प्लेटफॉर्म का भी ऐप है। इसका नाम है कू, KOO कू। इसमें हम अपनी मातृभाषा में टेक्स्ट, वीडियो और ऑडियो के जरिए अपनी बात रख सकते हैं।
Other parts of the globe, whether it's China or US, have had their decades. I firmly believe that this decade is about India.
Namaste and welcome everybody to yet another inspiring episode of Jai Ho. And today we have with us not just an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, and somebody who has done an amazing revolutionary initiative, I must say. If we could sum it up in a meme, it would be, I would say something like this, that young boys, they probably maybe they watch and look at Twitter, and men, they try to answer it. And legends, what do? Legends create an answer to Twitter. And that is exactly what our guest here today, Aprameya Radhakrishna, has done. And big salutes to you, sir. It is a trend-setting. This is Atmanirbhar Bharat. This is absolutely mind-blowing. And the way Coup has been getting the kind of responses, I would say that it is a revolution in itself and not just an answer to Twitter. This is definitely a platform in itself. So I'm waiting to know more about this from you, more about how, this entire concept, the idea, how did it originate and where exactly did this start? How did this journey towards Coup start? I would like to know a little more about this.
Thanks a lot, Rajalakshmi. Pleasure to be on the show. So Coup is a very special product, right? Because it is a true reflection of what India is today, right? So India is a combination of a lot of small communities which speak several languages and have their own independent lives, but we all come together as Indians, right? And when you look at an internet product, it should also behave the same way. It should also be a set of communities which together form an Indian social media, right? So it should be as true to how we live in our offline life, right? And that's what we have developed at Ku. So every single community is language based. You can actually find people who speak your language to connect with them. You can find topics that are trending in your particular language. You can actually, hashtag trend something only for your specific language community. We've made creation in local language extremely easy. So I think a lot of these things are fine little nuances in, empowering people to express themselves. And our whole concept of freedom of expression should not be limited to just people who know English, right? It should also go to everybody who don't know English or irrespective of language, right? Everybody has an opinion, everybody has a thought. All of them express in an environment that is friendly, right? Environment that makes them want to express. And that is what we've created at Ku, right? And basically how we came about it is, our first product, Vocal, which is a question answer app in audio. Some of the answerers on that platform actually said, why don't you allow us to express ourselves freely rather than just answer questions, right? And that's when it kind of triggered in us that, existing platforms may not be catering to this need of wanting to express what they have in mind. And we started creating this in November 2019 and launched it just before COVID hit March 2020. So yeah, I think those kind of fundamentals really drive us. The fact that the voice of every single person, irrespective of language, should be on the internet and empower them to express themselves. I think that's extremely critical, and that's what we're chasing.
So did you jump in, at an opportune moment, sensing that there is this kind of a tiff between some social media giants like Twitter and Facebook and, with the government? Or did you look at it as an answer to something that India needed? What was the driving force behind this venture?
Yeah, so it was an independent thought. Like November 2019 is when we started on this thought of, enabling the voices of India irrespective of language, right? So we had no idea of what will happen in the future, right? And if you look at it, the way in which we've been able to grow is a lot of serendipity, right? We started November 2019, we launched March 2020. We launched in local languages first, Kannada, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu. Then, we were also able to, win the Atmanirbhar App Challenge as a 3-month-old company, right? That's when we kind of realized the power of the platform that we have developed, right? It's a self-expression, user-generated content, social network. That is the first one in India. There has never been a social network ever been made in India the way Ku has been, right? And
yes,
towards the end of 2020, we actually launched English onto the platform because Twitter banned Trump in the US, and we just said, okay, if ever something like that were to happen in India, we definitely would need an alternative, and we created the English community then. And so it actually happened in February where Twitter, actually got into an argument with the government of India. And, some of the most prominent ministers actually, created their accounts on Ku and started expressing themselves to Indians on Ku, right? So it's a bunch of things that have come together to bring us here, right? I would say it has only accelerated our journey. Eventuality of giving a platform for expression for everybody, irrespective of language, has to happen, right? Has it accelerated our journey due to certain events where especially Twitter has been involved? Yes, it has. But was it, something we knew of? No. So we've been lucky in a way that things have happened to our benefit.
Okay. And I must say that, this has been revolutionary. Like I was saying, the word is revolutionary because, like I said in the introduction, this is an app that would be by the people, for the people, and also in the languages that, the people use, and that no other social media app would provide. So that is really revolutionary. And it makes it so much more easier for even people who are not tech savvy to be able to come onto social media and voice their opinions. So that really is an revolution in itself. And another thing that I would say is, people are a little skeptical about certain things also. Like I was saying earlier, you are a serial entrepreneur. And in the past, you have also created apps like Taxi for Sure, which was also running very successfully. And you took the big exit, and it was for a big amount, definitely. So a lot of people have this kind of a hesitancy that what happens if you sell out Coup to some other giant, like say maybe Twitter or Facebook, and then what happens to the data? What happens to the privacy issues? So what would you have to say about that?
I think Who is a very special product, as I said. It's the fabric of the country. Taxi for Sure, a lot of things led to us selling Taxi for Sure to Ola. So we also had an option to sell to Uber, right? We ended up selling to Ola, more Indian company, more, ingrained in the way which we were operating as well. So that there were a lot of things there. And we never actually started Taxi for Sure to sell it one day. We actually wanted to run it forever. But circumstances change. But in the case of Coup, I think, it's not just a transaction company. It's not giving a utility service. It is actually embedded and also created with the emotions of the country, right? So I think respecting that is extremely important. So a product that reflects the emotions of the country should always be treated with the awareness of that, right? So selling out to somebody who might what Coup is all about, what the voices of India are all about, is something out of question, right? And selling out in general is not the plan again, right? We want to build this forever, and I think Coup is a brand that has to, grow beyond generations, because it's about freedom of speech. It's about expressing yourself and showing who you are to the world, to India, to people beyond your family and friends circle. So we don't have any plans to sell, and definitely not to somebody who doesn't understand the fabric of the country, even in the worst of cases, right? But we are here to build this forever. We are here to make sure that we build a sustainable business, and we're in the building phase, and we will get there very soon. So as long as you're making enough money to sustain your operations, you don't have to sell the company to anybody, right? So we will get to a revenue generation stage, and this business doesn't require hundreds of millions of dollars to run every year, but we'll figure out how we become a profitable company at the right time. For now, it's all investment, growing, and the request to all users is that download, support Coup. Let's build our own social media platform for India, then take it to the rest of the world.
Yes, very true. And I'm sure I can see that happening. Already I think a couple of countries who have quit Twitter, who have banned Twitter, and they have taken to Coup as their official social media platform. Has the government of India ever indicated any kind of a plan, maybe some kind of a tie-up, or using this as a medium of communication? Has the government indicated something like that?
We're a free platform, and everybody is welcome to address their followers on the platform and build their own following. I think a public forum like Coup is extremely important for the government, and they have also basically created accounts, various accounts, to be able to give information out to the public, right? Information in local languages is extremely critical to make sure that everybody, so if there is a scheme, just that knowledge that the scheme is available might not be there at the grassroots level. So everybody's, as in including the government, everybody's free to come and create accounts, build following, and send out the right message to their followers. So I think it's a very powerful tool in which common man will get empowered with information from the right sources, right? So directly from the source is what is very important, very critical to mention.
Yes, absolutely. And that is one of the biggest powers of social media. That is, otherwise, in today's times, the news that we actually see are not actually news, you would say, but they're opinions of the different channels, whether it may be print media or whether it may be television. What we see are opinions. So we are not sure about whether what we're seeing is actually opinionated or biased, and social media gives you all different kinds of views. What I find remarkable is, that you have made it so much more simpler for people. The different languages that are being used, that which I don't think that any other social media platform would offer to Indians especially. And which celebrities or which other well-known figures are on Coup right now, just for the information of our viewers, so that they will be even more motivated to join Coup if they haven't already.
So India is all about following our idols, right? Like, we all admire somebody, we want to be like somebody. So, we've also made sure that we've gone and invited everybody who's well known to come and join Coup and be part of the Indian story. So some of them who have already kindly accepted and, actually joined and built a good following. For example, from Bollywood, just yesterday, Mr. Tiger Shroff joined Coup, right? Apart from him, there is Anupam Kher, there's Kangana Ranaut, there is a whole bunch of Lara Datta. So a lot of Bollywood folks have joined already, right? And from sports, of course, there's cricketers like Mohammad Shami and Vridhiman Saha and Akash Chopra, Javagal Srinath. So all of them have, joined the platform. From, of course, journalists and media, like everybody's there. Your favorite anchors, your favorite news channels, whether it's Republic or NDTV or, irrespective of what your views are, you can come and follow them, right? And on politics, of course, the most famous union ministers are there. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad was there. Now Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav is there. Mr. Piyush Goyal, Mr. Anurag Thakur, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who's the MOS for Information Technology. There is Miss Smriti Irani, of course, Mr. Kiran Rijeju. So all of them are on Coup. And from the opposition, there's Mr. Kamal Nath, Mr. Ashok Gehlot, Ms. Supriya Sule. So a lot of them as well. So if you look at it, slowly Coup is reflecting what India truly is, where a bunch of people who celebrate similar culture, festivals, we all come together. We have different views on different topics. Everybody is living in one country. That is what Coup is also reflecting, right? So I think it's extremely important to be able to see what truly is happening. So thoughts and opinions of India are not just the thoughts and opinions of the English-speaking India. It is also truly the thoughts and opinions of language-speaking India, because that's 90% or more of the country, right? So hopefully, as the platform grows, we will understand India a lot deeper. like what really triggers happiness, what really triggers for people to be sad, what are their ideas of improvement in their own hyperlocal area, right? All of that will emerge and accelerate the development of the country, right? Only if you understand what is required, you will be able to solve or enhance something, right? I think coup will bring out all of those emotions, all of that information, which is, tough to get out today, right? It will help administer better, govern better, make better films, schedule cricket matches better. You don't know how it will change the whole perspective. So it'll be interesting on how it will evolve.
Yes, I'm sure that everybody looks up to Coup and such social media platforms for getting the right responses because it comes directly from the public and it is not filtered. And like you have said in one of your interviews also that, people come to social media almost wearing a mask. So they think that they're not going to be identified. A lot of people think so. So they're very blunt and frank also. So coming to that, what security measures have you taken, especially considering like the government has also put in a lot of regulations in place, and which was the reason why a lot of these social media giants were also facing issues. So what measures has WHO taken so that we don't face any such issues of, say, maybe intentional misinformation or even about issues of security maybe?
Yeah, so I think digital security is extremely important. Different platforms have a different level of security that's required. So, for example, on a one-on-one communication platform like WhatsApp, like you really don't want anybody to see the message that you've sent to one particular person. So, like the amount of security that is required for a WhatsApp is like crazy. Like there is no end to how much secure you can be there. Whereas on public forums like Coup, for example, people want more and more people to see what they've said. So, so the level of security is not about what I've said. So what I've said, I want as many people to see, right? But there are anchors around which your identity might be there, right? Which is a phone number or email. So that level of security, we've already hit like top-notch international levels, right? Based on what is required for Coup, right? Different platforms need different levels of security. For Coup, whatever the level of security is required to help make sure that your email address or phone number is not leaked out and stuff, we've taken care of. We've gone to the extent of, now rewarding hackers, as in people who do it in an ethical manner, ethical hackers, right? We've gone to an extent where we're saying, okay, you hack our system if you can, and if it's a genuine way of hacking, we'll pay you the money, right, for having helped us improve our security. And believe it or not, after releasing it to ethical hackers, we've still not found anything that that has been able to hack our system. So we're good, as in we're very serious about data security, privacy, and our understanding of what level of security and privacy is required for a platform, open platform like Coup, is very, very strong. So, yeah.
Now, you being a serial entrepreneur, I come to that again and again. So, have you thought of something else, say maybe beyond this or other than this, or are you focusing on Coup as for now?
For Coup, there's a lot to do. As in, there's a lot of expectation. Building Coup is almost like representing India at the Olympics or at a cricket match, right? Like there's a lot of unsaid pressure on your shoulders to just deliver better and better every day, right? Every time I make a post, I get requests on features, I get requests on improvements. So there's just so much to do. So at the moment, we are not thinking of anything else, but we will keep making note of every observation that we do, and if there is something uniquely Indian that we can build for India, we will do it. But probably not, right away. I mean, that's not our focus area.
Okay. I'm very curious to know. Now, you having always, taken up ventures that are a little futuristic or a little ahead of your times, I would say. Something that most people would not have even thought of. So whether it was for in case of taxi for sure, or whether it is about coup. I mean, coup was ready and it was launched at the right time, like especially when we were all looking for an Indian alternate, so an Indian answer to Twitter. So at that time, coup was ready. I want to know what exactly is that inspiration, or what exactly is your mindset, and how do you go about with your ventures?
Yeah, so it's not a simple answer. I think one thing that I definitely do is make a lot of observations, collect a lot of mental notes, the conversations I have with friends, family, colleagues, people like, I'm in discussion with, a security guy or a delivery boy, or, so I have a lot of conversations, but I'm listening more than I talk. So I make a lot of mental notes on what they are saying. And I think somewhere after a lot of this information settles in the head, you kind of like start realizing, okay, what might be required from your own personal experience plus the observations that you make. So, being curious is extremely important. Not being superficial in what you're saying and hearing is also important. Like if you stay at the surface, then you're always making conversation but not really going deep. So I think I have that God-given gift or natural ability to just let everything that I've heard or said kind of sink in and not just leave it for the time that I've spoken about it, right? So I think that helps a lot, because you never know what comes together in the mind and gives you your next big idea or thought. So yeah.
Yes, the very first thought, or that idea, or the purpose, that drives any invention or any venture. That is definitely, it's not very simple. Another thing is, also about when it comes to these startups. How Atmanirbhar do you think Bharat is today? And we are talking a lot about this ease of doing business, and in terms of policies and the general situation. How easy do you think it is, like for any youngsters who might be, they may be having a million ideas, but then Indians have always been very skeptical about taking risks and creating something new. So that is why we have very few Aprameyas, and we have more people who are probably working for somebody else, some other MNCs. So what do you say about this?
No, I think we have a lot of potential in terms of technology, right? I can talk about that. So technology has always been built in markets where technology is used, right? So let's say we take that statement and go back in time. So the markets that could afford and use technology, whether it's as basic as the internet, were always starting from the West. So US, could afford internet prices and personal computers better than the rest of the world. So the need for using internet better on my personal computer started in the US, let's say for work. So, the development of technology always was for the American market, right? And the resources who could build technology, whether it was in America or outside, were always building for America, right? So even if something was outsourced to India, you're building for the end user in America, right? That is only because the access to technology was only in America. Now, if you look at that, as the access to technology, let's say internet in particular, kept increasing, the need to customize and personalize technology to that region became higher. Like last decade, China built its own internet and technology and everything. Right? In a decade, they built everything, and that is because one, they put a wall around themselves saying nobody can enter, only we'll build, which is great for them, right? But they could do that in the last decade because they were customizing for themselves and they got access to internet and smartphones and data and everything. Now this decade is when India is experiencing that, and suddenly the user of the technology and internet is Indian, speaking local language, and nobody's ever built it for India before. And the only people who can build it are Indians, because we know how we behave and we know what we want better than everybody else. So this is the time for India when we will build for ourselves, right? And some of those products, just like China's TikTok and Zoom made got global recognition. So if we build 100 startups for ourselves, maybe 5 or 10 of them will go global as well, right? And be accepted globally and be used across the world. So I think this is the time for India. And, we've never had the opportunity to build for ourselves. Right now is the opportunity to build for ourselves.
Yes, very true. And this is like we say, we are at the cusp where India is not a developing country, but I think we definitely are showing our potential to be a Vishwa Guru. And I would want to know your advice to our future entrepreneurs or any youngsters who are here watching, so that people may understand what is the need for us to think beyond that syllabus, think outside the box, or think like there is no box at all, so that we can actually become a Vishwa Guru.
Yeah, I think one is self-belief. So whatever each individual thinks they're very good at, I think we should all think that we are the best at it, right? At an individual level, right? There is nothing stopping us from learning anything in the world now. Like, we're so connected. You can go learn anything overnight, right? If you really, really want to, right? So that is one, self-belief. It all starts from how confident are you of yourself with whatever you're good at, right? It could be dancing, it could be building technology, it could be coding, it could be something else. Whatever it is, identifying and saying, I'm the best at this and I will be the world's best, right? We won much more Olympic medals than ever before this time. So we can be the world's best, right? So that self-belief has to be there. And the philosophy of wanting to get better every day, right? Like, my thought for myself is get 1% better every day. Whatever you choose, right? Whether it is, okay, I'll get 1% healthier. I'll get 1% better at my work. I'll get 1% better at, playing with my daughter, or, it could be anything. What you choose, you cannot be stagnant. If you've chosen something, you get 1% better every day, right? So it could be very serious goals. It could be as, stupid as it can be. So, but the feeling of stagnancy is what ruins us, right? The whole concept of getting settled in our culture actually is, unsettling us in a way, right? We're always trying to go and settle ourselves somewhere and not think to get better, right? So the whole antithesis of getting settled is to get better every day.
Okay. And that's a lovely new perspective. I mean, and that's a great thought. And you have unsettled this concept. And I can't help noticing the sweet little bird in the background, the logo of Coup, and this platform. You've given it wings, and it has also evolved. We have seen the logo also evolve. So what was the thought behind the logo and the very word Coup? What was the thought behind this?
Yeah, so as in, when we thought of free expression and giving a voice to everybody, and everybody's saying so that everybody else can listen, the best way of depicting a message going to various people is a bird, right? That's what we've kind of grown up with the pigeons, sending out messages through by tying it to their collar and things like that. So I think that was definitely there. It also crossed our minds that Twitter has a bird as well, but our market is very different. They probably never heard of a microblogging concept before. So we didn't want to confuse the user by using something else. So we thought the most direct way of saying, okay, here's a message that will go to another person is a bird, right? And the sound of a bird is coo. So koel ki coo, birds do coo. So even outside my house, there are these birds which go coo every day. So it's quite awesome. So I think that's as simple as it can get. And now when you actually think of it, there was a golden India was called the golden bird era or something like that.
Sone ki chidiya.
Sone ki chidiya, right? So it was called the golden bird, Sone ki chidiya, in the 1700s or before that, I think. No, 3000 BC to 10th century AD is when it was called, right? So now when we think of it, it's a yellow bird, it's like a golden bird, and hopefully it's the symbol of bringing back the golden age to India, where we act as leaders, we act as the leaders who have the self-belief to really be the best in the world.
Okay, that's such a lovely thought. So from being this founder of this bird who who visualizes this coming back of the Sone ki chidiya that Bharat once was. So what would your parting comments or your final advice be to our viewers, each one of them, who may or may not be entrepreneurs, who may or may not be youngsters? We have viewers across all ages, and some of them may not even be on any microblogging site, but then maybe they might be inspired to start with this now. So what would be your advice be to them, and also what is their advantage of joining Coup, and how can they be a part of this process of making India a Vishwaguru?
Yeah, I think so. Of course, the straightforward answer is to download Coup and use it. You can languages. All of us Indians know each one of us know more than 2 languages for sure, right? At least 2 we know. So we're a very special breed that way. Not too many people in the whole world actually know 2 languages. They're all very know only 1 language. So I think for everybody, I would like to say that we need to go beyond. So I see a lot of this culture of in startup world, at least since Taxi for Sure to now, I've seen a whole culture change of how do I make the most money by putting least effort, right? That seems to be what I get no matter where I see, right? From the taxi driver, okay, can I make more money by doing less number of rides, to an engineer who says I will work only 3 hours but I will want double salary, to at every level I feel this coming together, right? So I think we have a very unique phase for India where we can build India for ourselves. If we lose this phase, then we will be somebody else's in terms of digital economy or whatever else, right? So it's very important to stand up today, right? And build, and not think of, okay, am I doing too much for this much money, or all of that in the side. Align to what you believe in, whatever you believe in, and do the best. Money will follow, but do the best, give in your best, because you've chosen to do this, right? Whatever you're doing. So I think that's important for every Indian to do in this phase of, few decades that we have, right? To really make a mark on the world. So unless we change individually, the sound always be, there's a lot of aspiration, of course, but the aspiration should be to achieve, and not just monetary. Monetary is very flimsy goal to have. I think we get a lot more satisfaction by achieving much more emotional goals than just monetary goals.
Yes, have very nicely said, very appropriately put. And I must say that you have probably lived very true to your name. Obviously, there is much more to come. Aprameya, which means limitless or boundless. So your thoughts and your actions have also always shown that your thinking process is definitely limitless. That perhaps is the secret behind whatever you've been doing on this while. And I'm sure that not just Coup, whatever venture you take, it will definitely rise to greater heights, and the sky also will not be the limit. So, and here's hoping the same for our country as well. And thank you so much for sparing so much time and inspiring every one of us. And I'm hoping and I'm sure that a lot of people will take inspiration and be motivated by you. And we will definitely see India rising as the Vishwa Guru of our dreams. And so with that, I say Jai Ho.
Jai Ho.
इसी तरह एक माइक्रो ब्लॉगिंग प्लेटफॉर्म का भी ऐप है। इसका नाम है कू, KOO कू। इसमें हम अपनी मातृभाषा में टेक्स्ट, वीडियो और ऑडियो के जरिए अपनी बात रख सकते हैं, इंटरेक्ट कर सकते हैं।
Society does extremely well when each person in that society has a lot of aspiration. I think India is a land of opportunity and aspiration at the same time. And that's what keeps me super positive about the possibilities of living in India and doing business in India. Other parts of the globe, whether it's China or US, have had their decades. I firmly believe that this decade is about India.
I'm sure after this inspiring and amazing talk with Aprameya Radhakrishna, every one of you must be really inspired to give wings to your thoughts and ideas and go ahead and make India proud. If you think you can do it, you definitely can. So stay positive in your thoughts, strong in your intentions, and negative from all negativities like Corona. Jai Ho!